The opposition and defense against Donald Trump's radical policies, it starts today. And I'm going to outline in a series of hot takes here on the Midas Touch Network how we do that. And I have one right now. We got a gift over the summer from the United States Supreme Court, and it's MAGA right wing. Chief Justice Roberts, particularly, who gave us the ability to oppose all radical agency action of all those administrative agencies that Donald Trump is going to try to gut, hollow out, and put puppets on top of them to stop regulation, to stop protections that help the American consumer, to help the protections that help the American worker, that stop protections that impact our water, our air, our Social Security, our Medicare, and the like. And when he does that, he's going to run into a brick wall, and I'm going to explain it right here. I'm Michael Popak. You're on the Midas Touch Network and Legal AF. So, Donald Trump, we know, because he did it in 2016, is going to start replacing almost immediately the heads of all the major administrative agencies that are under his control. They're all in the executive branch, whether it's the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Internal Revenue Service, the Environmental Protection Agency, Nuclear Regulatory Agency, the Health and Human Services. Everything related to your benefits, your student loans, everything is going to be headed now by people, oligarchs, billionaires, buddies, lackeys of Donald Trump, who will do his bidding and will weaken and hollow out those agencies, making human life, American life, a lot worse off. How do we oppose that? Well, now we have it, because it used to be until this summer, under a decision we called Chevron and a doctrine called the Chevron Doctrine, agencies and their heads were given tremendous discretion. It's called deference, respect, by federal judges, whatever their reasonable interpretation of conflicting and ambiguous law issued by Congress. That was fine. That had to be deferred to and respected. No longer, because the Federalist Society and MAGA hated Chevron, and they wanted to get rid of Chevron because it gave too much power to agency heads, whether they were Democrat or Republican, and they don't want any agency to have that much power, right? They believe in all the power should be in the presidency, even over Congress and over the courts. They certainly don't want it in an administrative agency that's responsible for regulating. So rather than respect the expertise of regulators, regardless of whether they're Democratic or Republican, Chief Justice Roberts said, no, that's what judges are for. Okay, that's our door opening. That's our door opening. Because when Donald Trump puts his meat puppets in charge of each of these agencies that impact human life and the quality of our life, and we don't like the interpretation that agency is now taking, to allow methane gas to be released into the atmosphere on a regular basis, to allow, pollutants to go into our water supply, to screw with our benefits on Social Security and healthcare, to weaken the protections of workers in the workplace, to stop the Internal Revenue Service from doing its job to collect money so we can fund the social service programs and other aspects of our United States government. When we don't like those, we have a way now. We file a lawsuit. We take it into a Democratic appointed federal judge. They exist. They were appointed by Obama and Clinton even, and Biden. There's plenty of them. And you file it in his courtroom, his or her courtroom, and then from there, they make a ruling on their own, because Chief Justice Roberts said, you don't defer to any agency's interpretation. You're the judge. You make the interpretation. That's what your job is. Okay, Judge. Okay, Justice Roberts, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to completely ignore the Trump department head or agency head, and I'm going to make my own ruling because I'm a federal judge and that's what I'm supposed to do, right? And then we take it up to an appellate court that is favorable to Democrats and free-thinking people, like the Second Circuit in New York, the Ninth Circuit in California, right? The Third Circuit in New Jersey. We do one of those. And then we hammer it back to the United States Supreme Court and work Amy Coney Barrett as the swing vote to try to get our decision in place. That's how we're going to use against them, like a little bit of legal jujitsu, a new law by the Supreme Court over the summer that actually will give us the ability to oppose the worst instincts, and we know they're all worst instincts, of Donald Trump and his cronies as they get inside and crawl inside these administrative agencies. We got a way, and this is the way. And one of the things we want to do here on a regular basis is, we have a new landscape we have to recognize, but we have to be prepared to oppose and defend, using the court systems where appropriate, using decisions that the Federalist Society love against them. That's the beauty of this. Using the repeal of the Chevron doctrine in this Loper-Bright case against the actual instincts of MAGA. We have to use every tool in our toolbox, right? We know there's a fire hose of laws and regulations and executive orders that we are not going to like. And if democracy is now in a cage, we have the key to unlock it. And one of the ways to unlock it is to use the Loper-Bright decision against them in favorable federal courts and then take it up to the United States Supreme Court and aim for the center. That is the next 2 years of boxing in and cabining in Donald Trump and tying him up as much as possible. I've said this on other hot takes too. Every law, every executive order that we think is part of the radical agenda, and most of them will be, whether it's an immigration policy, whether it's environmental policy, whether it's reproductive rights, it needs to stand opposed in a lawsuit that is filed by a public interest group, the Democratic National Committee or others, and bring that into favorable federal courts. And there we go. And now we've got one way to do it. It is this overturn of the Chevron doctrine. We kind of scratched our heads on Legal AF when that happened. We said, wow, that's interesting. I mean, we understand it's a tenet of the Federalist Society, defang and hollow out administrative agencies. They hate the administrative state. They hate the Administrative Procedures Act, the APA, which is the ability for Congress to pass its laws, but then turn it over to the regulators to do the nitty gritty, right? To come up with at the molecular level of how you regulate in a certain area, as long as it's consistent with the ultimate law. It's really the only way. Congress doesn't have time or committees to sit around drafting the act. Sometimes they draft very broad laws, but it then turns into, the Code of Federal Regulation, the CFR, goes on for volumes. That is done by the administrative agencies with comment from the public and the industry that's being regulated and then is codified and adopted ultimately by Congress. That's how it's supposed to work, but not according to Chief Justice Roberts. Law is only to be interpreted by judges without deference to anyone. And so they got rid of it, thinking, well, this will be good. This will help undermine the administrative state. Yes, but a part of Project 2025 and Donald Trump's mission is to use the administrative state in order to weaken regulation. He's now hit a roadblock under this new decision if properly applied. And we're going to continue to follow everything about how we stand opposed, right? As the party in opposition, in the party, right? The party now of free-thinking people who believe in democracy despite the polling results, the electoral results, who believe in democracy and that we will live again, including we're one step closer, 2 days closer to the midterms at this point. And that's what we have to do. We just have to try to cauterize this wound, right? We have to try to oppose Donald Trump at every turn. We can't, as a party, fall asleep at the switch. We have to be engaged, and we have to bring it to your attention too. So that's what these hot takes are going to be about. What is the radical agenda? How do we oppose it? What are the rules and tools that are in the box that we can use? And how do we do it? And then we, of course, are working with people behind the scenes to make sure these strategies, these tactics get implemented in real time, starting on Jan 20. But we have to be prepared before. That's why these next several months is going to be about identifying the problem, drafting the lawsuits in advance, and having them ready to file. And I'll follow it all right here on the Midas Touch Network and, of course, on Legal AF, our new channel at the intersection of law and politics. And we created it just for this potential issue. Just in case it was a Republican win, a Trump return, we're ready on Legal AF over on that YouTube channel as well, and here on the Midas Touch Network. So until my next hot take, I'm Michael Popak, and I'm reporting. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.